Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to imagine, just for a second, a world where the sun doesn't just shine it literally smiles down at you.
Hmm.
And I don't mean, metaphorically. I mean, it has a face, big cheeks, maybe sunglasses, and it's grinning at you all day long.
It sounds cheerful, doesn't it? A bit. Intense, perhaps, but cheerful.
It sounds like a fever dream.
Ah!
But keep going with me here. Imagine a world where gravity isn't really a law of physics. It's more of a polite suggestion.
Right.
It's a rule that only kicks in when you actually look down, realize you're walking on thin air, and, hold up a little sign that says, oops.
The classic Roadrunner logic.
Exactly. And in this world, if you get shot in the face with a blunderbuss, you don't die. You don't even go to the hospital. You just get frazzled.
Frazzled.
Yeah, you turn smoky. Maybe your beak spins around your head a few times. You blink those big white eyes, and then pop. You're back to normal.
It's the ultimate childhood fantasy, really. A reality with zero consequences.
Right. But today, we aren't just reminiscing about Saturday morning cartoons. We are going to find out what happens when you take that fantasy, that cartoon logic, and you crash it headfirst into a brick wall called reality.
And we mean that quite literally, because today's deep dive is into a really fascinating and frankly bizarre piece of Doctor Who history. We are looking at the novel The Cricket World.
This book is wild. I've been reading through our source stack, and the premise is just, it's deceptively simple, but the execution is completely brain-melting.
It is. So the setup is that the TARDIS crew, that's the Dr. Fitz and Angie, they land in a place that operates entirely by the rules of a cartoon, specifically a region called Zanytown.
Zanytown. Even the name makes me want to reach for an anvil.
It's apt, though.
Yeah.
But here is the hook that makes this a deep dive, and not just, a book review. We are analyzing the mission of this story.
Yeah.
This isn't just a romp. It is a clash of physics and philosophy. The core question here is, what happens when you introduce real-world concepts like linear time, biological death, and free will into a society that is built on these repetitive slapstick loops?
It's basically, what if Wile E. Coyote suddenly realized he could just stop chasing the bird?
Exactly. And it turns out that realization doesn't lead to happiness. It leads to an existential crisis. We're going to be unpacking the physics of this world, the sociological breakdown, and the sheer chaos that ensues when what the book calls the plague of questions infects a static society.
I'm so ready for this. The source material is absolutely bonkers. We've got talking pigs, we've got cars made of bones, we've got a talking ambulance with an attitude problem. So let's jump right in. Segment 1, the physics and, I guess, the metaphysics of the Cricket World.
Let's set the scene.
Paint the picture for us. The TARDIS lands, the doors open. What are they looking at? Because Zanytown implies a specific aesthetic.
It's an assault on the senses. The source material describes it vividly. Imagine a child's drawing brought to life, but with three-dimensional depth. There are no straight lines in Zanytown.
None.
No. Everything is crooked. The buildings lean at these 30-degree angles that would cause any architect in our world to just scream.
I loved the detail about the skyscrapers. That was just impossible.
Yes, the window-dotted skyscrapers, the text describes them as being narrow at the bottom, and then they grow wider at the top.
Which is physically impossible. They should topple over immediately.
In a world of Newtonian physics, yes. But here, structural integrity is based on what looks jaunty.
Jaunty, I love that.
The whole environment is aggressively colorful. The tarmac on the roads is pink, the bricks are bright yellow, the wood is red. It's a technicolor nightmare.
And the inhabitants, they're not human, right?
They match the scenery. It's a population of anthropomorphic animals. You have chickens driving convertibles. You have pigs walking on their hind legs wearing sports coats. But, and this is crucial, no trousers.
Ugh, the classic cartoon fashion choice. Shirt, maybe a hat, no pants.
It signifies that they're civilized enough to have roles, but they're still characters rather than, biological entities. And this brings us to our main entry point into the culture of Zanytown, a pig named Streaky Bacon.
Streaky Bacon, of course. Even the name is a pun waiting to happen. Tell us about Streaky.
Streaky is a pig farmer, but he's not farming for sustenance. He's farming because that's his role. When the story opens, he is locked in this eternal repetitive struggle with his nemesis, the whatchamacallit.
The whatchamacallit. I love that the book doesn't even give it a proper species name. It's just the thing I chase.
It's described as a purple bird creature with orange legs and a crimson crest. It's a pure chaotic agent. Streaky spends his entire existence trying to shoot this bird with a comically oversized blunderbuss to protect his cornfield.
A cornfield he probably never actually harvests.
Precisely. He sets traps, he digs pits, he uses funhouse mirrors. And every single time, the bird outsmarts him. It's the roadrunner dynamic.
Yeah.
But we need to look at the rules governing Streaky's life, because they are the laws of this entire universe.
Okay, let's break down these rules. We touched on gravity earlier. Gravity by mutual consent.
Right. The Doctor identifies this pretty quickly. He notes that gravity isn't a constant force here. It's a narrative agreement. You don't fall until you accept that you should fall.
So if I run off a cliff in Zanytown, what happens?
You can keep running on thin air, you can stop, you can look at the camera, wipe your brow, you are perfectly safe. The fall only happens when you look down, realize there is no ground, and panic. The realization is what triggers the physics.
It's mind over matter, but in the stupidest way possible.
It is. And speaking of matter, there's the rule of matter creation. Animation theorists often call this hammer space.
Hammer space, I've heard of this. It's that, like, invisible dimension behind a cartoon character's back.
That's the one. In Zanytown, if a character is angry, they can reach behind their back and just produce a sledgehammer. If they're hungry, they can pull out a giant sandwich. If they need to blow something up, they pull out a stick of dynamite.
So resources are infinite.
Effectively, yes. And this leads to a fascinating economic point that the sources highlight. Money exists in Zanytown. There are banks. There are bags with big dollar signs printed on them.
But the money is worthless. It has to be.
It has to be. Think about it. If you could pull a gold bar out of thin air, because it's funny, or if you can paint a tunnel on a wall and just walk through it, scarcity doesn't exist. So why do they have banks?
To be robbed.
Exactly. The bank is just a set piece. Its function is to be the location where the cops and robbers game is played. The money inside is just a prop. It's like the ball in a game of soccer.
Right.
It has no intrinsic value. It's just the thing everyone is chasing.
So on the surface, this sounds kind of great. I mean, nobody starves. Nobody's poor. Nobody dies. You can defy gravity.
It sounds like a utopia, a complete paradise. But the expert analysis here, and where the book gets really dark, is that it is actually a prison.
A prison? How so?
Because it is a world of stasis.
Hmm.
Think about Streaky Bacon again. He never catches the whatchamacallit.
Right.
He never eats the corn. He has no memory of a time before the chase, and he has no future where the chase ends. He is trapped in a closed time loop of repetitive action.
Wow. It's purgatory with a laugh track.
It is. He is performing a script he didn't write and that he can't change. It's a world without progress. Today is the same as yesterday, which is the same as tomorrow. Always.
And that is why the arrival of the TARDIS is such a massive deal. It's not just visitors, it's a disruption of the entire time warp.
Correct. The TARDIS is a machine of time and space, landing in a world that has neither.
Which moves us right into segment 2, the disruption. The outsiders arrive.
So the TARDIS lands right in the middle of Streaky's cornfield. Streaky is hot, he's bothered, he's frustrated because the bird just tricked him again. And then suddenly, this blue box appears. Two strangers. The Doctor and Fitz step out.
And Streaky panics.
He does. In his worldview, there are folks I know and strangers. Strangers are threats. He's holding a blunderbuss. So he does what his script tells him to do. He fires.
Point blank range, right into the Doctor's chest.
Now, in Zanytown logic, what should happen?
The Doctor should turn black, cough up a smoke wing, maybe his hair should stand on end. He should be frazzled.
Right, he should be frazzled. But the Doctor is biological. He is from our universe, the universe of consequences.
So he bleeds.
He bleeds, he falls down, he goes into shock. And the source text describes this moment as being absolutely shattering for Streaky. He's just looking at the Doctor and he asks, shouldn't he be okay by now?
He's waiting for the reset button, for the joke to be over.
He's confusing injury with a gag. He's seeing this red fluid blood, and he doesn't even know what it is. It's a complete collision of genres. You have a cartoon pig holding a smoking gun, standing over a man who is actively dying in the dirt.
And Fitz is the Doctor's companion. He's human. He reacts with very real, very human anger.
Fitz just loses it and punches Streaky. And again, the physics clash. Fitz hits Streaky in the face. In our world, that breaks a nose. In Zanytown, Streaky's face just caves in like a rubber ball.
Oh, that's horrible.
It makes a boing sound and pops right back out.
That is such a disturbing image. Fitz is traumatized because he's trying to hurt this thing that just bounces back, and Streaky is traumatized because he's seeing real permanent damage on the Doctor.
It's body horror masked as comedy.
Yeah.
And because the Doctor is critical, they call for help. And this introduces my absolute favorite character in this entire deep dive.
The ambulance.
The ambulance.
Tell the listener about this ambulance, because I feel like we all know someone like this vehicle.
Okay, so the ambulance is a living, sentient vehicle. It arrives on the scene shouting, "Nina, Nina," with its own voice. It doesn't have a siren. It just yells the word siren.
That is fantastic.
It pulls up, the back doors swing open, and it is completely empty.
No medical equipment, no stretcher, nothing.
Nothing. Because in Zany Town, an ambulance isn't for medical treatment. Its function is to scoop up a flattened animal, drive them off screen, and let the scene change heal them. It's a narrative device.
So when it sees the doctor...
It is disgusted. It
Yeah.
looks at the blood, it looks at the shock, and it basically says, ew, no. It refuses to take the doctor to a hospital because it doesn't know what a hospital is. It tells them they are killing the vibe.
It literally cancels them for being too depressing.
It ejects them. It dumps a dying man on the street because he doesn't fit the aesthetic of fun violence. It's a brutal critique of how we consume entertainment, really. We like the bang, but we don't like the blood. The doctor ruins the fun by bringing the reality of pain.
So while this medical emergency is happening, we have to check in on the other companion, Anji. She got separated from the group, right?
She did. Anji is a modern, rational woman from 21st century Earth. She lands separately, climbs out of the TARDIS wreckage. Don't worry, the TARDIS gets better. And she gets picked up by a van called the Spook Wagon.
Which is, come on, let's be honest, it's the Mystery Machine.
It is a legally distinct parody of the Mystery Machine, yes. You have the skeleton crew, there's the handsome leader, the nervous guy, the smart girl with glasses, the redhead, and a cowardly dog named Fearless.
And they're driving around looking for ghosts.
But here is the brilliant twist the source material gives us. Anji tries to apply logic to their world. The van breaks down in the middle of a gloomy forest.
Of course it does.
And Anji, being practical, asks, "What's wrong with the engine?"
And I have no idea.
They say, "Nothing. It just always breaks down here." Anji opens the hood, and the engine is fine. But the narrative requires a breakdown, so the car simply stops moving. The story says so.
And then they catch the ghost.
The green ghost. Anji walks right up to it. The rest of the crew is shivering. Their knees are knocking together with audible sound effects. Anji just reaches out and pulls the mask off.
And it's a guy.
It's Ranger Gruenwald in a bedsheet. Anji says, "Look, it's just a man." But the crew can't process it. They are terrified. They run away, their legs spitting in midair before they zoom off, leaving Anji standing there with a confused Ranger in a sheet.
She's the straight man in a comedy routine that doesn't know it's a routine.
Exactly. So you have the doctor introducing mortality, and Anji introducing logic and skepticism. These are two viruses that Zany Town has no immunity against.
This leads us perfectly into segment 3, the plague of questions.
This is the turning point of the entire narrative. The doctor calls what is happening free will. The locals call it a plague. And it starts with Streaky Bacon.
Let's go back to Streaky. He just shot the doctor. He saw blood. What happens in his head after that?
The doctor survives, largely thanks to his own resilience, but the damage to Streaky is psychological. He sits in his field, he looks at his blunderbuss, he realizes something profound. If he could have killed the doctor, then death is real.
And if death is real...
Then life must have value. And if life has value, why is he spending every waking second of it chasing a purple bird he never catches?
He has an epiphany. I don't even eat corn. Why am I growing it?
Precisely. He breaks the loop, he puts down the gun, he stops farming, he just sits there. And this behavior creates a ripple effect. It's contagious. We see it spread to another character, Jasper the cat.
Jasper. Okay, so if Streaky is Wile E. Coyote, Jasper is Tom from Tom and Jerry, right?
Yes. Jasper is a kitchen cat. His entire life is defined by chasing a mouse named Squeak. He gets electrocuted, flattened by irons, hit with frying pans. He sees the outsiders, he hears the rumors, and he realizes, I have a choice. I don't have to do this.
Imagine realizing you don't have to run into a wall anymore. It must be so liberating.
You would think so. We usually frame free will as a triumph. Freedom. Liberty. But in the crooked world, it manifests as despair.
Why despair?
Because the loop was their identity. Without the chase, who is Jasper? He's just a cat standing in a kitchen. He has no purpose. The source describes Jasper hiding under a pie dish, shivering. Not because he's scared of the mouse, but because he's scared of the empty time stretching out in front of him.
He doesn't know what to do with his day.
He's never had a day before. He's only had scenes. Now he has time, and it's terrifying. The doctor has given them freedom, but he hasn't given them meaning. They have to find it themselves.
And the society starts to crumble. The text mentions rabbits start growing their own carrots instead of stealing them.
Which completely destroys the farmer versus rabbit dynamic. Dogs refuse to chase cats. They just sit around discussing their feelings. The animation cells, which is the local jail, becomes a focal point.
The animation cells, that's a pun, isn't it?
It is a brilliant one. In our world, an animation cell is a static image. A sequence of them creates movement. Here, the animation cells are a prison that prevents movement. It's a place where the story stops. The doctor points out that pun, and it's a fantastic bit of meta-commentary.
So this script is broken, the actors are going off book. This brings us to segment 4, order versus chaos. You can't have a societal collapse without the authorities freaking out.
Enter Boss Dog.
Boss Dog. Please tell me he looks exactly how I imagine.
If you're imagining a bulldog standing on 2 legs, wearing a Stetson hat, a waistcoat, and a gun belt, then yes, he is the sheriff of Zanytown.
He is the establishment.
He is the superego of the entire town. He represents the status quo. His catchphrase is, pull yourself together.
And he is not happy about this plague.
Not at all. To Boss Dog, introspection is a crime. He views thinking as antisocial behavior. He holds a town hall meeting to address the crisis. He gets up and reads out a list of unnatural acts that have been reported in the wake of the doctor's arrival.
What counts as a crime in a cartoon world?
Things that break the genre crimes include chewing gum, spitting, and the one that really gets him, the horror of horrors, writing letters to the stork asking for a baby without being married.
Scandalous.
For Boss Dog, it is pure anarchy. He wants everyone to go back to the script. He wants the chases to resume. But while he's trying to clamp down on the population, a more dangerous group is organizing. The villains.
The Villains Union. This is my favorite subplot. This is amazing.
It's genius. The bad guys realize that the rules are fluctuating, so they decide to unionize to maximize their effectiveness. It's a rogues gallery of archetypes.
Who do we have in the lineup?
You have the masked weasel, who actually turns out to be Angel Falls guardian Mr. Weasley in disguise.
Yeah.
You have Dirty Duck, who is a cheating racer in a trench coat. You have the Green Ghost, who we mentioned earlier, the Ranger, who decided to just lean into the villainy, and Repugna, the witch.
And what is their goal? World domination.
They don't really know. They say they want scrumptious power.
Scrumptious power? What does that even mean?
It means nothing. That's the joke. They don't know why they want to rule the world. They just know that ruling the world is what villains do. They're programmed to be evil, so they were just amplifying that programming.
But they do something different this time. They don't just try to rob a bank. They decide to kidnap Fitz.
And this is the major strategic shift. They realize that kidnapping a cartoon character is pointless. If you tie up a cartoon damsel, she just waits to be rescued. But Fitz is fragile. Fitz is real. They realize they can use his biological vulnerability as leverage.
They know he can feel pain, and that gives them actual power for the first time.
Exactly. They take him to an abandoned warehouse. And this leads us to the climax in segment 5, the funny car derby and the hostage crisis.
We have to talk about the race. It's the centerpiece of the visual action in the book. It sounds nuts.
It's a direct parody of wacky races. It's called the funny car derby.
Describe the vehicles for us.
It's absurd. You have a caveman driving a car carved out of a solid boulder, which creates massive friction and sparks, by the way. You have the Grim Rider driving a car made of bones.
A bone car. Okay.
You have Sir Percival, a knight, riding a mechanical horse on wheels.
And then there is Angel Falls.
Angel Falls drives a pink buggy. She is the damsel archetype. Her role in the loop is to get into trouble, scream for help, and be rescued by a hero. That is her entire function. She worries about her lipstick while driving at 100 miles per hour.
But Angie has been talking to her.
Yeah.
Planting ideas.
Right. Angie has been infecting Angel with feminism, or at least basic agency. Angel starts questioning why she needs to be rescued. She asks, why am I screaming? I know how to drive. I have a car.
She stops waiting for a hero.
She does. And the race falls apart because the villains, Dirty Duck, specifically stop playing by the fun cheating rules and start using actual dangerous sabotage. But the real drama is at the warehouse with Fitz.
This leads to the stork incident, and honestly, this might be the darkest joke in the entire book.
It's pitch black comedy. So the villains are holding Fitz tied to a chair. Suddenly, the skylight shatters. A stork flies in carrying a bundle in its beak.
A classic cartoon trope, the baby delivery.
The villains panic. They think, oh no, a baby. We don't know how to take care of a baby. We're villains. But it's not a baby.
It's dynamite.
Yes. See, earlier in the story, There was a completely unrelated gag where a mother found a stick of dynamite in her pram, don't ask why, and she threw it up into the air to get rid of it.
And the stork caught it.
The stork caught the dynamite. And now, adhering to the rule of funny timing, it delivers the bundle to the villain's hideout.
And boom.
Massive explosion. Now, because they are cartoons, they survive. They're just covered in soot, blinking their big white eyes, coughing up smoke. But the psychological impact is huge. They realize that the universe is becoming unpredictable. The gags are turning against them.
So they get desperate. They demand a ransom for Fitz. $1 million.
Yeah, here is the paradox. Boss Dog refuses to pay.
Because the money is worthless.
No, oddly enough, he doesn't even care about the economics. He refuses on principle. He says, I can't go handing out ransoms willy-nilly. It sets a bad precedent. He's being bureaucratic about it.
So Fitz is stuck. The villains want $1 million, which is just paper to them, but they want it. The sheriff won't pay. How do they solve this?
The Doctor provides the solution, and it is a brilliant subversion of the world's logic. He tells Angel Falls, just go get the money. Meaning to create it. He tells her to use the hammer space logic. In Zanytown, if you need a mallet, you pull it out of thin air. The Doctor realizes that if she needs $1 million to save her friend, she could just pull that out of thin air too.
She weaponizes the cartoon physics to solve a real-world hostage situation.
Exactly. Angel concentrates. She reaches into the empty air, scrunches up her face, and poof, she manifests $1 million in cash. She pays the ransom with money she created by sheer willpower.
That is such a satisfying resolution. It's the synthesis of the two realities.
It completely breaks the villain's brains a little bit. They get the money, but they realize they've been outplayed. The hero didn't fight them. The hero just rewrote the script.
So Fitz is saved. The villains are paid. But we're moving into segment 6, responsibility and the future. The immediate danger is over, but the world is changed forever.
And Angie is furious with the Doctor. She confronts him. She says, look at them. They're miserable. They're anxious. She points out that before the TARDIS arrived, everyone was happy. Sure, it was a loop, but they were smiling.
It's the ignorance is bliss argument.
It is, and the Doctor's response is crucial. He argues that a life of repetitive loops isn't a life, it's just existence. He says that safety without choice is a prison. Even if the choice is painful, it's necessary for it to be real.
There is a moment mentioned in the source where the Doctor demonstrates this change physically, right? To prove his point.
Yes, to show Angie that the world has fundamentally shifted, the Doctor changes the color of his shirt just by thinking about it. He concentrates and turns his shirt from yellow to blue. He does this to demonstrate that in this world, will is power. Reality here is malleable.
He's telling them, you don't have to follow the script, you can rewrite it.
Exactly. He's showing them that they are not just characters, they are authors.
And we see this societal shift happening. Boss Dog, the paragon of order, finally cracks.
The pressure gets to him. The sheriff, the man of rules, gets so frustrated that he accidentally swears.
In front of the town.
In front of everyone. The text implies it's bleeped out or obscured by symbols, classic comic strip style, but the intent is clear. The crowd is shocked. The sheriff said a bad word.
It shatters his authority.
It does. He's no longer the infallible script keeper. He's just a frustrated dog in a hat. He's become a person.
And the villains, what happens with them?
The villains are having a complete identity crisis. They realize that in cartoons, evil plans always backfire. The gun always explodes in your face. The trap always catches you. So they start debating among themselves.
Debating what?
They think, maybe if we do good deeds, the universe will twist them and cause evil.
They are trying to hack the karma of the universe.
They're trying to reverse engineer the narrative causality. It's hilarious, but it's also a sign of real growth. They are thinking about cause and effect. They are moving from childhood to adolescence.
That's a great analogy. The whole society is hitting puberty. It's awkward, it's emotional, everything feels intense, but you can't stay a child forever.
Exactly. And that brings us to the core message of the book.
So let's wrap this up in the outro. The Crooked World is a funny story. It has exploding cigars, portable holes, talking ambulances, but it's deeply philosophical.
It is. It's a case study in The Truman Show meets Looney Tunes. And the Doctor's intervention suggests that free will is the ultimate infection.
An infection.
Yes. Once you catch it, you can't cure it. Once you start asking, why do I do this? You can never go back to the loop. You can't unask the question.
Streaky Bacon can never go back to mindlessly chasing the bird. He knows now that he doesn't have to.
And that knowledge comes with a price. The price is responsibility. Streaky has to decide what to do with his life now. And that is terrifying. He might fail. He might get hurt. He will eventually die.
So here is the provocative thought I want to leave our listener with today. We all fantasize about a life without consequences, right? We want the cheat codes. We want to win the lottery, stay young forever, never get sick.
It's the human dream.
But if you lived in a world where you couldn't die, where you had infinite food, where you could pull whatever you needed out of thin air, but you had to do the exact same routine every single day forever, would you choose to wake up?
Even if waking up meant you could get hurt.
Yeah.
Even if it meant the sun stopped smiling and just became a burning ball of gas.
That is the choice the doctor forced on Zany Town. And honestly, I think I'd take the risk. I think the smile on the sun would start to look pretty creepy after a few centuries.
I agree. Better a painful truth than a comfortable loop.
Deep stuff for a world with chickens and convertibles. Thanks for diving in with us. Keep asking questions, everyone.
Even if they plague you.
Especially if they plague you. We'll see you next time.